But I had the opportunity to join an early stage tech company back in 2014 in Boston, and I've been in tech and SaaS ever since. But it actually was on the B2B side. So that's where I really started to get introduced to the formal marketing discipline. Meanwhile, a lot of what I had been doing in the hospitality world was marketing, just with a different title. So I felt like it wasn't too far of a stretch in terms of my experiences and what I like to do. But eventually, Connor, it was interesting. I felt like I got farther and farther away from the customer. Like I was mass marketing to millions of people in a database, and we were optimizing for a cart value. We were like a B2C company that sold, it was a two-sided marketplace that had both business users and then customers at the end of the day. And I felt like, to my earlier point, I was getting far away from the neighborly connection and actually getting to know my business and my neighbors one-to-one. And the same mentor was like, maybe B2B is going to be more exciting and more interesting to you, because instead of marketing to millions of people, you actually only market maybe to 2,000 accounts, right? At best case scenario. And therefore the care and attention you have to put into those experiences is a whole heck of a lot more important. And so I moved into the B2B world about 6 years ago, been here ever since. And I've directly chosen marketing, sales, rev technology that, one, I see value in, but two, I think continues to perpetuate this overall hypothesis of mine, which is like, we are better together, right? Like, how do we bring people closer together? How do you create more meaningful business relationships? How do you like break the convention? I think a lot of the bad habits and bad experiences that have been perpetuated by technology. And so that's how I ended up at an AI company. I actually chose to join before the ChatGPT craze. So I like to say I was an early trendsetter.
I like the AI OGs that are like, I was here before cool.
I've been here for over a year, which is like so funny. That makes you in the company I'm now at, Regie.ai. We've been working on this problem for about 4 years. So we didn't wake up 9 months ago and decide to hop on the bandwagon. The co-founders have really committed their recent life work to solving some big problems with AI. So that's how I got here today.
Amazing. I love people with hospitality backgrounds in general. I think that anyone who has a hospitality background is just like extremely tough, super empathetic. You have to understand those customers, and like you have to be so gritty, because you just get kicked in the teeth every day, all the time.
And that's actually interesting. This could be a whole other topic. I feel like there's so much parallel too between hospitality, let's say a restaurant, for instance, and the friction between marketing and sales. Like I often think of marketing as the front of the house in a restaurant. Sales is back of the house. You only win if you're both hyper compatible and team oriented at the end of the day, but there's so much built-in friction between those two worlds. And so I actually feel like I excel now in these areas because I've had a predisposition to figuring out like how to make sure the chef likes you.
We use so many with Aptitude in the services business. We use so many service, and I don't even think anybody has like a deep hospitality background. Everyone's done some of it. You pace all of us in terms of breadth, but I think we use it really often of, okay, you're an SA, you're taking orders at the table, but like the kitchen doesn't need to know everything. They just need to know like burger, medium, rare. But if you give them things that aren't on the menu, they don't know what to cook, and it's not because they're stupid. Like you have all these things right. All the time.
That's exactly right. So anyways, I digress.
Tell me about Regie. What is Regie? How should people think about it? Where does it fit in the thing? What are you excited about? And then we'll dovetail from there.
Yeah, absolutely. We are in the ever topical AI space, and I'll give folks just a bit of a background in terms of our journey, because I think it helps give some credibility in terms of the problem we solve today. I actually was an early Regie customer many years ago, and we first got known for sequence generation. So when content generation was just becoming accessible to the pre-ChatGPT worlds, you could actually start to use it to think about how do we take some preset value props and messaging from your website, read some of your sales engagement data, and stitch it all together to create a really performant piece of outbound content. And that was like hyper novel when it first hit the market. I don't know about you, but I never want to write another sales sequence again. Like it is the bane of my marketing existence. Sales never likes it. So then they go rogue, and then it like just pains me as a brand marketer that people are writing their own things and targeting whoever they want. So we solved a big problem, but interestingly enough, there's not a lot of sustained value in the middle, right? Even the best of organizations maybe write sequences once a quarter, twice a year, right? And so what happens?
New head of marketing starts, oh my God, all of this is terrible. We need to rewrite all of it.
But then it goes stale really quick, and you just don't have the capacity to keep up with optimizations, most organizations. And so the next iteration of the product was actually helping to unlock personalization for frontline sales reps, right? So any given sales rep, maybe 60% of those sequences are templatized. They click the button or automatically send, but the other 40% requires actual human to human connection and personalization. And you got to do your research research and your homework, and you got to think about how do you catch them with the perfect subject line and opening line. And so we were able to take the same type of operating principles of our platform, but apply it to one email instead of multiple emails. And customers love that because you take what's maybe a 15-minute process to write a great cold email down to less than a minute. But the
is my experience, is it Mad Libsy? Am I like writing something and you're fixing it? If I'm the end user, I'm a sales rep, what do I experience if I'm doing that?
So there is a decent amount of setup on the back end to then have minimal setup on the output, right? And so what I mean by that is I see that prompts are becoming the new templates. And by that, for the past 10 years, 15 years, ever since Outreach, SalesLoft, Apollo, these sales engagement platforms hit the market, junk in is junk out, right?
Yeah.
And so the quality of these sophisticated systems are incredibly reliant on the quality of the content that goes into them. And so for the past 15 or 10 years, folks have been developing these high-performing templates to make sure that they could reach the amount of people they need to reach to with minimal intervention or edits along the way, right? So you're trying to balance the personalization and the reach scales. But people are getting hammered right now on deliverability, especially with the changes from Yahoo and Google and others. As of Feb 1, if you're sending templated messages, you are ruining your domain reputation. You're probably not even reaching your buyer's inbox, let alone creating compelling enough content for them to open, reply, and engage. And
so
that
used to be the primary struggle. Now it's 3 struggles down.
That's exactly right. And so prompts are similar in that you give direction for how you want these AI models to create content. And it's Mad Lib in that it will understand the rules of the game that you're giving it, but it has enough flexibility and enough freedom to actually generate a unique message that fits those confines every single time. So you can now use AI to create the same volume, if not more, of messaging, but every single one is going to be unique and relative to the buyer. But it's, again, only as good as the data sources you feed it and the prompts that you coach it around. And so there's similar style set up on the back end. But then as a rep at the end of the day, all they do is click yes, send, because all that work's been done for them. And they give it a quick read and they make sure that it's good to go.